In episodes 34 and 35, we created a CRUD interface. It took us about 15 minutes. However, lots of CRUD interfaces have a lot in common, and so this week we're going to create a machine for generating CRUD interfaces. Let me demonstrate that machine in action. First, let's delete last week's work. Now we'll fire up the machine with this command. Generate is the command for getting a machine, a blueprint. CRUD is the name of the machine. Post is the name of what we'll be generating. And the rest are data options. Let's hit that, and it creates all these things for us. There's a couple things that need to change to make it exactly like what we had before. I'll do that real quick. And now we have something exactly like we had before, with our edit and our delete buttons and our new buttons. So all that work that we did last week was accomplished in less than a minute. And it takes out a lot of the possibility of error because the computer does it for us. So let's go in depth on how we created that machine. You can generate a blueprint using an Ember generator. Just type blueprint and then the name of the blueprint that you want. That will create a folder within the blueprints folder and then an index file. The index file is where you create a lot of the custom logic and custom variables that you can use in your path and templates. For this first episode, we're going to just be using the defaults that they give us. In the Pro episode, we'll be creating our own variables and figuring out how to manipulate the index file. So we create a files folder, which is where all our files will go. And within that, we create a root folder. Notice the double underscores. That means that it's a variable. And so in our case, the root is app, although you might have named yours something else. Root will know that. Within root, we'll create a double underscore name folder. So when this is generated, it'll be post. And we'll also generate a double underscore name s folder. And when this is generated, it will be posts, plural. So things surrounded by double underscores are variables, and everything else is taken literally. As an aside, the things with double underscores are called file map tokens, and you can define your own in the index.js. This is the index.js for the route generator that comes with Ember CLI. This also happens to be how they can create classic and pod architectures in the Ember CLI generators. We won't be doing that today, but if you wanted to, you could do that. Now, back to the main event. Now that we know the mechanics of naming the folders, let's create some files. We'll create a model.js, and here we'll just do like we normally would. So when we generate, it'll generate this. In our Pro episode, we'll put the attributes here based on what we put in the command line. But for now, we won't be using any special variables. By contrast, if we do the show folder, then we'll be needing some of the special variables that Ember gives us. This is our current show controller. Let's go ahead and copy that, and then use that to construct our controller down here. We'll just need to change the transition to route, since we won't be transitioning to posts every time. It'll be dependent on what you name your CRUD interface. So we'll put in dasherized module name, and then add the S to make it plural. There are better ways to make it plural, but this is good enough for now. Dasherized module name is just one of 5 template variables that you get by default with your blueprints. We'll be using many of these when we're creating our files. I created a bunch of these files off screen. Let's take a walk through several of them. Let's start with the name plural template file. Here we have the finished product after it's generated posts. And over here we have the template in the blueprint. Notice everywhere it has post, it has one of these variables. Here it's dasherized module name. Down here it's camelized module name, because when there are multiple words, you'll want them to act differently. So it's just taking what you want and then putting in the variables wherever you have the name or something that's going to change depending on what you're generating. So from the top, we have the edit controller and the edit template, then the edit fields component, and then the template, which still has some stuff that we're going to put in during the pro episode. We've already seen the show controller and template and the model. And then the new controller, the new template. You can pause at any point. See that right now we're just replacing post with various module names. So it's that easy to generate the files. The harder part comes next time when we explore the index.js. Specifically, we'll learn how to add attributes to our model, how to display attributes in our show template, how to put in the edit fields for our edit fields template, and then how to add nested resources within a currently existing file. I look forward to seeing you then.